This is your weekly report on corruption in the Philippine government. The Sandigan Bayan sentenced a former employee of the Philippine Veterans Affairs Office to up to 8 years in prison for his involvement in the irregular disbursement of checks to his uncle, as well as deceased and fictitious beneficiaries. Liamar Basul was also ordered by the Anti-Graft Court's 4th Division to pay 474,259 pesos in a decision promulgated on the 27th of April and published online Friday. Also affirmed was the Quezon City Court's sentence of disqualification from public office. The Sandigan Bayan affirmed the decision of the Quezon City Regional Trial Court Branch 88 against Basul, who, in 1995, took part in encoding and printing pension checks without any legal basis or authority when he was still with the PVAO's Management Information System Group. He claimed he made the supplementary checks without any memorandum order because he wanted to help an uncle. However, aside from his uncle, the investigation showed that Basul also processed checks for recipients who were already deceased or fictitious. The court said Basul encoded the entries with a furtive design and not by mistake, as he deliberately failed to observe the regular internal procedure of his office and encoded such entries knowing that some of the pensioners were already deceased and that he even made fictitious names as payees in the subject checks. His acts were tantamount to evident bad faith as he orchestrated a wrongdoing with a fraudulent intent, it added. The Department of Labor and Employment in Central Visayas will investigate allegations that outgoing Cebu City South District Representative Rodrigo Bibota Belanosa used one of the agency's programs to buy votes. Lawyer Ernesto Rama wrote a letter to DOL 7 on the 2nd of May, 2022, asking it to investigate the alleged listing of individuals who were promised that they would become beneficiaries of the agency's Tulong Pankabuhay and Sarating Disadvantaged Displaced Workers (TUPAD) program. Rama said the incident took place in the Belanosa-owned Asian College of Technology and also in barangays Guadalupe and Mambaling. According to Rama's letter, the individuals were told to return on a specific date so they will receive 500 pesos as a down payment of their TUPAD salary, with the balance to be paid after the 9th of May election. We think the giving of cash as down payment is an act of vote buying, said Rama. The chief of the Police Regional Office 9 ordered Friday tight checkpoints in Zamboanga, Sibugay Province after a shooting incident involving a mayoralty candidate. Brigadier General Franco Simborio said a political supporter of Sayaray Town mayoralty candidate Michael Argus was injured when gunmen believed to be followers of a rival candidate fired on Argus convoy on Thursday afternoon. Simborio said wounded in the incident in Barangay Mahahe was Juan Abaca Jr., 47. Who was hit in the leg and was rushed to the Zamboanga Sibugay Provincial Hospital. He said before the incident, a political supporter of Vargas was involved in an altercation with a rival candidate's supporter. Simborio said the unidentified gunmen aboard 2 pickup trucks opened fire as they stopped about 30 meters away from Argus convoy, hitting Abaca. At least 24 empty shells of an M16 Armalite rifle, 3 empty shells of 9mm pistols, and 2 empty shells of a .45 caliber pistol were recovered from the crime scene. A 69-year-old village chief and 3 of his relatives survived an ambush in Pernablanca, Cagayan Province on Wednesday, a belated police report said on Saturday. Police Captain Isabel Tagano, Cagayan Valley Police spokesperson, identified the victims as Bonifacio Caligaran, 69, village chief of Nanguilatan, his wife Marvi, 55, son John Ray, 13, and kinswoman Armelan Collado, 34, all of the said town. They were unscathed in the shooting. The motorcycle-riding gunmen tried to overtake Caligaran's car and opened fire. Probers found 1 slug below the driver's seat, 1 slug and a live bullet on the pavement. Police have been focusing on a possible work-related or a personal motive in the shooting. A driver of a campaign vehicle is in critical condition after he was shot and wounded by a still unidentified assailant on board a private car in Barangay Lilon, Santander Town, South Cebu at past 4 p.m. on Friday, the 6th of May. Rad Andrade, 33, sustained multiple gunshot wounds in the body and was rushed to a hospital in Cebu City. Based on a report from the Santander police station, Andrade was driving a multicab with a jingle for a local candidate when an unknown person on board a Toyota Vios fired at Andrade. Members of the victim's family who were at the back of the multicab were unscathed. Police were tight-lipped about the identity of the local candidate Andrade was campaigning for while an investigation was being conducted. 4 people who were reportedly supporters of 2 mayoral candidates died while 4 others were wounded in a shooting incident on Saturday morning in Barangay Labut, Magsingal, Ilocos Sur. Police Executive Master Sergeant Archie Cianapot, the duty investigator of Magsingal Town Police Station, confirmed the shooting incident happened at about 7 a.m. Police identified the dead as Recto Bagdan Bagani, 65, a resident of Ayeng Manabo, Abra, and an alleged supporter of incumbent Magsingal Mayor Victoria Rina Favis, Larry Paul Harmontoda, 41, a resident of Meratudo, Magsingal, Ilocos Sur and an alleged supporter of opposition mayoral candidate Lori Salvador. The 2 others who died in the incident were Javito Tomanang, a retired Philippine Army Scout Ranger, and alias William Bolalit from Carisi, Ilocos Norte. The wounded persons were identified as Albert Abet Barnes aka Tyson, 39, from San Ramon, Magsingal, and Romnick Villanueva, 25, of Patong, Magsingal. Both are alleged supporters of incumbent Mayor Favis. The 2 other wounded were Teofilo Tazin, 39, a resident of Meratudo, Magsingal and driver of vice mayoral candidate Larry Seria, and Kenneth Salvador Citras, 40, the manager of Blue Jays gasoline station. Both are alleged supporters of opposition mayoral candidate Lori Salvador Jr. Gunmen divested a town councillor seeking re-election and one of his supporters of cash and valuables right at the official's residential compound in Zamboanga del Sur, the police disclosed Saturday. Brigadier General Franco Simborio, Police Regional Office 9 Director, identified the victim as Councillor Alex Aldi Amors, 51, of Tabana Town and his supporter, Jeffrey Elisino, 35. The incident happened in Puracaba, Barangay Maliam at about 10:20 a.m. Friday. Simborio said at the time of the incident, political leaders and supporters of Team Daondan Paloyopoy were gathering for a meeting when 2 pickup trucks arrived and parked in front of Amor's house. The team is led by incumbent Tabana Mayor Tercendo Paloyopoy and Vice Mayor Greg Daondan. Simborio said the 7 still unidentified gunmen got out of the 2 vehicles, barged into Amor's compound, and demanded everyone to drop while firing their guns into the air. 3 of the 7 suspects grabbed Amor's belt bag at gunpoint. It contained 20,000 pesos cash, a bank book, and other personal belongings. The gunman also grabbed the belt bag of Elisina that contained 3,000 pesos cash and identification cards before fleeing toward Barangay Lumbia. Responding policemen recovered 29 empty shells of a 5.56mm caliber rifle, 2 empty shells of a .45 caliber pistol, and 9 empty shells of a 9 caliber pistol. 24 people, 5 of them wounded, were arrested in an alleged encounter between the security forces of re-electionist Mayor Isidro Paduriliga and his rival, former Mayor Virgilio Bote, in Purat in Barangay Concepcion, General Tinio Town in this province at about 11:30 p.m. Saturday. The names of the suspects were not immediately disclosed. In a report to the provincial headquarters, Town Police Chief Captain Ronan James Eblahan said 5 of the arrested persons who got wounded were civilian security personnel of Bote while the 19 belonged to Paduriliga. Eblahan said police forces were conducting checkpoints when they received information about the shooting incident. Upon the arrival of the responding officers, they saw 1 white Nissan Navara and grey Ford Raptor both penetrated with multiple gunshots and 5 wounded personnel of mayoralty candidate Bote, he said in a report. A further search of the place was conducted where a pickup truck yielded 5 M16 rifles, 11 .45 caliber pistols, 3 9mm pistols, 1 .40 caliber pistol, and 1 12-gauge shotgun, police said. Also found in the vicinity of the place of the encounter were 1 12-gauge shotgun and 1 .45 caliber pistol, 71 5.56 caliber live ammunition, 138 .45 caliber live ammunition, 41 9mm caliber live ammunition, 12 .40 caliber live ammunition, 8 shotgun live ammunition, 6 magazines for the M16 rifle, 26 magazines for pistols, and 8 holsters. A niece of the mayor of Siroye town of Zamboanga del Norte was shot in Sahia, Barangay San Vicente on the night of Saturday, the 7th of May. Police Major Shelame Chang, spokesperson of the Police Regional Office 9, said City Warnapo A. Sola, 33, resident of Barangay Siroye proper and a job order worker of the Siroye local government, was shot while inside a house of a relative in Sahia, Barangay San Vicente on Saturday. Chang said Sola was a known supporter of Aljaz Janahim, the son of the incumbent mayor of Siroye Gamar Janahim and Sola's uncle. She was sitting beside the open door of the house when suddenly the suspect appeared and shot her in the head. Chang said, Citing the initial investigation report, the Siroy Town Police said the suspect was wearing a police officer's uniform, but Police Captain Alexei Palasok and personnel from the 2nd Zamboanga del Norte Mobile Force Company later found the suspect's getaway motorcycle at Sitio Mazama, the town's barangay San Nicolas, where it crashed. The suspect was later arrested. Police brought the suspect, a certain Anatungel Montong, 24, resident of the town's barangay San Roque, to the Siroy Health Unit for medical treatment, according to Police Sergeant Carding Unding, investigator of the case. Lapu-Lapu City policemen are trying to identify the killers of a barangay Tunguzan councillor in Alango Island late Sunday night, the 8th of May, 2022. Police Major Judith Basas, information officer of the Lapu-Lapu City Police Office, said that they were checking all possible angles in the killing of barangay Tunguzan councillor Jose Saddam Quiros on Sunday, the 8th of May. Basas said they were focusing their investigation on finding out the identities of the 3 men involved in the shooting of Quiros. Initial investigation showed that Quiros was talking to someone inside a food stall in Barangay Tunguzan when 2 unidentified men went inside. Another companion of the 2 men stood watch outside the food stall as a lookout. A few moments later, the 2 men shot Quiros without any reason at all. The victim was hit 4 times. Basas said he did not know yet which part of the body that Quiros was shot at. After Quiros fell down, the 3 assailants fled on a motorcycle. Police also found out that Quiros had an altercation with someone prior to his shooting. They said that it was about installing a tent in the area. They found in their investigation on the ground that the councillor had an altercation with someone, allegedly over the installation of a tent. So we would investigate who that person is. We are also taking into account other angles and investigation regarding the shooting incident. Basas said that the installation of a tent happened at the polling center in the barangay. 8 persons were hurt when a series of grenade explosions hit the area near the town hall of Datuanse, Maguindanao at past 7 p.m. on Sunday, the eve of the polls. The victims are now undergoing medication at Maguindanao Provincial Hospital in nearby Datu Hofa town, also in Maguindanao, according to Colonel Jibin Bonkao, chief of the Maguindanao Provincial Police Office. He said 4 explosions hit Datuanse town and another one hit nearby Sheriff Agwak town. Nobody was hurt in the Sheriff Agwak blast, Town Administrator Anwar Imblor said. Bonkao said police probers were still determining the identities of the attackers. The grenade explosions, believed to be from M79 launchers, were fired during a power service interruption in the adjacent towns of Datuanse, Sheriff Agwak, and Datu Hofa. No one has claimed responsibility for the blasts, but it could be election related, a police officer in Datuanse said. He added that some of those injured were teachers awaiting the release of vote counting machines and supporters of local candidates, but police had not confirmed their identities. 3 members of a barangay peacekeeping action team, BPAT, in the town of Bulawan and Maguindanao were killed while another was injured in a shooting incident near a polling precinct Monday morning, Election Day. A report from the 16th Military Intelligence Company said the gun attack happened at the back of the Pilot Elementary School in Bulawan, just after the BPAT members rendered assistance to the polling precinct in the school. The 4 BPAT members were on official duty, the report said. According to the report, the still unidentified gunmen were on board 2 white vans that stopped just in front of the BPAT members. All of the victims were allegedly supporters of re-electionist and incumbent Bulawan Mayor Babadats Mangudadatu, the report said. Accordingly, 2 white van vehicles relentlessly fired their guns, believed to be rifles, to the BPATs who were in duty status at Pilot Elementary School, after which, the said perpetrators withdrawn to unspecified location, the 16th MICO said in its report. All victims were BPATs identified as supporters of Mayoralty aspirant Babadats Mangudadatu of Bulawan, Maguindanao, it added. Allegations of vote buying reportedly triggered a shooting incident that left 4 dead and Mag single, Ilocos Sur on Saturday morning. Charges will be filed against the 2 groups composed of supporters of rival mayoral candidates, according to a press briefing at the provincial capital on Sunday attended by Ilocos Sur Governor Ryan Louis Singson, Ilocos Sur Police Provincial Director Colonel Wilson Dorimal, and Ilocos Sur Provincial Election Supervisor Alipio Castillo. 6 supporters of mayoral candidate Elrico Favis, Guillermo Unciano, Agustin Unciano, Dante Tolentino, Archie Garcia, Manilio Oliver Jr., all of Barangay Patang, and Albert Banas of Barangay San Ramon, will face murder and frustrated murder charges, while 2 supporters of rival candidate Laurie Salvador Jr., identified as Teofilo Tarzan, 39, of Barangay Meritudo, and Kenneth Salvador, 40, of Barangay Napo, will be slapped with frustrated murder charges. Initial police investigation showed that the incident stemmed from an alleged vote-buying activity that went out of control. Investigators said that a group backing Salvador went to Barangay Labot to verify an alleged vote-buying activity and were confronted by supporters of Favis, husband of outgoing Mayor Victorina Favis, who has slid to vice mayor. Top officials of Himamalan City, Negros Occidental have denounced the violence that claimed the life of a public school teacher on the eve of the 9th of May national and local elections. Mercy Nequia Miguel, 49, of Barangay Caradioan, assigned at Himamalan City National High School and was set to serve in Monday's polls, was shot to death by unidentified assailants on her way home with her husband at around 8:30 p.m. Mayor Raymond Tongson said the city government condemns the death of the teacher and ordered the police to exhaust all efforts to arrest the killers. The motive is yet to be established. Let us wait for complete police investigation report, he said in a statement posted on Facebook Sunday evening. Based on the initial police report, the teacher and her husband were on board a motorcycle going home from the public plaza, and upon reaching crossing Kalasa, they noticed that huge stones were blocking their way. When they attempted to remove the stones, shots were fired by unidentified persons from the roadside, hitting Nequia Miguel on the abdomen. She was declared dead by the attending physician at the Valeriano M. Gatuslao Memorial Hospital, the police said. Her husband was left unharmed. Policemen on Sunday seized 10 high-powered firearms and other weapons in a Toy residence. Aside from the high-powered firearms, authorities also seized a handgun, a baseball bat and other assorted deadly weapons consisting of bolos and knives. Major Winston Batengan, police chief of Sapa Sapa Municipality, said in a statement Monday. Batengan said the weapons were seized when policemen responded to the reported presence of some 150 unidentified armed men staying at the residence of a local candidate around 1:50 p.m. Sunday in Barangay Top Banran, Sapa Sapa. The responding policemen were about to inquire when a group of individuals suddenly scattered and fled in different directions, Batengan said without identifying the candidate. The Commission on Elections in Basilan reported 3 incidents of ballot snatching in the southern province Monday morning, one of which was successful. Lawyer Vidsford Julie, Comlec Basilan's provincial election supervisor, confirmed that a group of men successfully snatched some ballots from Precinct 008 CDE in Tipo Central School at around 10 a.m. Julie has yet to disclose how many ballots were stolen from the election precinct. Security forces prevented another group that tried to snatch other ballots, but the ballots were destroyed after they were drenched by a bottle of indelible ink during the commotion, Julie said. Soldiers fired warning shots in a third ballot snatching attempt. Suspects threw the ballots in the mud before escaping, the official added. Julie said recommendations would be made to the Comlec and Bank, which would decide if failure of elections in Tipo should be declared. 3 men armed with sharp machetes hacked and seriously wounded 2 voters in a polling precinct in Siguran town in Lanao del Sur at about 8 a.m. Monday. The victims, Naim Razdi Makant, an employee of the Siguran municipal government, and Salman Ahmad were immediately rushed to the Ame Pakpak Hospital in Miroy City for treatment. Colonel Christopher Panapan, Lanao del Sur Provincial Police Director, said the victims were in the campus of the Mato Basuk Elementary School in Barangay Mato Basuk, Siguran when they were attacked, wounded in the hacking frenzy. Panapan said witnesses have identified the culprits as Jamil Aziz, Moksir Aziz and Samradin Riga, now subject of an extensive joint police-military manhunt. The incident scared and forced hundreds of voters inside the school campus to scamper away. Probers from the Siguran Municipal Police Station said the victims are followers of incumbent re-electionist officials, while the 3 suspects are identified with a candidate for a mayor hostile to the present municipal chief executive. A blast erupted at a voting center in the municipality of Cabacan, Cotabato on election day. The incident happened around 9:40 a.m., according to a report by GMA News stringer Vilma Magbanua. Cabacan Philippine National Police Chief Police Lieutenant Colonel John Miradal Kalinga said an improvised explosive device allegedly exploded along Jose Abad Santos Street at the exit of Cabacan Pilot Central Elementary School, where voters have flocked in for the elections. The voting was delayed after voters heard of the explosion. No injuries were reported, but caused fears to voters, as the explosion was also near a public market in Cabacan. Voters scampered for safety as gunmen from 2 opposing parties clashed an hour after polling precincts opened here Monday for the national and local elections. Colonel Pedro Martires, Basilan Police Director, said the encounter broke out around 7 a.m. in Barangay Bolo-Bolo in the island town of Tabon Lasa. Martirez said the gunfight ensued after supporters of Bolo-Bolo Barangay Chairperson Jahud Abbas and Alfred Farouk, a candidate for municipal councillor, crossed paths at the village's public elementary school. The report disclosed that the group of Alfred Farouk was the first to open fire, prompting the camp of Jahud Abbas to fire back. Martirez said, no casualty was reported in both camps during the clash that lasted for about 2 minutes, he said, adding police had to intervene to stop the fighting. Elsewhere in the province, indiscriminate firing of guns was also reported around 11 a.m. Monday in Barangay Bacang, Sumisip. Brigadier General Domingo Gobwe, Joint Task Force Basilan, said a group of gunmen supporting a mayoralty candidate opened fire to prevent supporters of an opposing candidate from casting their votes. A former mayor of Panglao town in Bohol is set to file charges against police officers who allegedly hurt him after asking them to stop an incident of vote buying on election day Monday, the 9th of May. Toribia Bon, 72, resident of Tangnan village, suffered bruises and said he was also hit in the stomach while trying to stop the policeman from arresting him. But the police claimed it was Bon who was disrespectful to the police and said he would be charged with direct assault, resistance and disobedience to a person of authority. According to Bon, he had just cast his vote at Tangnan Elementary School at past 8 a.m. when he saw 3 men giving out cash with sample ballots along the road in front of the school. Aghast at the blatant display of vote buying, he told the 3 men to stop what they were doing. When he was ignored, he went to complain to the 6 policemen who were just about 3 meters away, but the policeman instead asked him if he had evidence to prove vote buying, and this irked the former mayor. The police saw the vote buying. Even if they would not reprimand them, these policemen should have at least stopped it, said Bon. The policemen instead got angry at me after I told them if they were blind because it was clear that these men were buying votes, he added. The policeman tried to handcuff the former mayor and force him inside the police vehicle, which resulted in a scuffle. A policeman allegedly hit him in the stomach with the butt of an M16 rifle. The commotion caught the attention of a local official and a lawyer who told the policeman to leave Bon alone because he was a former mayor and a senior citizen. It was only then that the policeman left. In a statement, Lieutenant Emilito Meloria, chief of Panglao police station, said Bon allegedly berated the policeman and pointed a finger at them while shouting, "You, policemen, are blind." Bon was asked to stop, but the former mayor allegedly continued berating them and even attempted to spit on one of the policemen. The police said the former mayor also tried to grab a policeman's firearm. Bon, however, denied this. At my age, do you think I can fight and try to grab a firearm from a policeman, he asked. A poll intruder who attempted to disrupt the election proceedings was mauled to death by voters inside a precinct Monday morning in Beniden town, Lanao del Sur, a security official said. The suspect along with 4 other cohorts, armed with steel pipes, forcibly barged into the polling place in Magonair Elementary School in Barangay Magonair to disturb the ongoing voting, said Major Andrew Linao, spokesperson of Western Mindanao Command. Linao said police investigation disclosed the suspects scampered when the voters in the polling center sensed they were not residents and registered voters of the said polling place. However, one of the suspects was left behind and was mauled to death. Military and police personnel failed to pacify the volume of voters who joined in mauling the suspect. Linao said burst warning shots were heard and the suspect was found lying dead later. A few minutes before voting centers closed on Monday evening, the 9th of May, 2022, a barangay tanod was shot by still unidentified perpetrators just in front of the Zapatera Elementary School. Police identified the victim as Brian Mabaga, who was conscious when taken to a hospital, said Police Major Albert Quilitorio, chief of the Parian Police Station. Based on initial information, Quilitorio said that Mabaga was just sitting with some companions when a man arrived and shot him at 6:42 p.m. A man arrived and he went around him. The man was just walking. It was really the victim who was the target because he had companions, but it was only him who was hit, Quilitorio said. Witnesses in the area claimed that the suspect rode a motorcycle driven by another person. They were accompanied by another man on board a separate motorcycle. Quilitorio said the victim is a barangay tanod, village watchman of Barangay Loraga. Mabaga was one of those who helped police in monitoring the polling center at the Zapatera Elementary School on election day. 1 died while 5 others were wounded when unidentified gunmen shot at a group of voters in Tabon Lasa municipality as they were coming out of a polling center Monday afternoon. Brigadier General Domingo Gobwe, Joint Task Force Basilan Commander, identified the fatality as Ricardo Fabian, 52, who was killed on the spot. Wounded were Andy Reyes Jr., 30, Narudin Gajali, 29, Al-Nasri Jamang, 29, Bol Majalis, 48, and Hakim Munib, 38. The victims had just emerged from the polling center in Barangay Tonglumas, Tapian Tanna Island, Tabuan Lasa, when the suspects shot them with high-powered firearms at around 2 p.m. Police said they have yet to ascertain the identities of the suspects, who were hiding in houses located near the polling center during the incident. The gunmen just waited for us to leave the place and started shooting the victims, Colonel Pedro Martires, Basilan police director, said. Martires said the suspects fled before the responding JTF Basilan troops arrived in the area. An unidentified gunman shot and killed a village councillor on Tuesday night in Sariaya town in Quezon province. Quezon police, in a report, said Apolinario Riveres, 66, an incumbent councillor in the village of Bignay 2, was drinking liquor inside his house at around 8:25 p.m. when he was shot once in the head, killing him instantly. The suspect escaped after the shooting. The police are now conducting further investigation to identify the gunman and establish the motive behind the killing. The police in Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, BARMM, has filed charges for violation of the Omnibus Election Code against 7 persons who allegedly manhandled a poll official and 2 watchers in Datupiang, Maguindanao. Brigadier General Arthur Caballona, BARMM Police Director, said Wednesday the 7 suspects, whose identities were withheld for security reasons, are now locked up at the Datupiang Municipal Police Station. He said responding police officers immediately arrested the suspects who all barged inside one of the voting precincts in Datupiang National High School in Barangay Buuan during Monday's elections. For still unclear reasons, the suspects attacked the chair of the electoral board and 2 watchers of a local candidate, Caballona said. That's all for this week. I'll see you next Friday with more stories of corruption and foolishness within the Philippine government.